You're listening to Thursday Night Jazz. I'm Rusty Hassan, and we just heard two by Uri Caine. That last one was Mannahatta from a new release entitled Calibrated Thickness with Clarence Penn and Mark Elias backing him up. And before that, we heard Nefertiti, Uri Caine Trio live at the Village Vanguard, and that featured Drew Gress on bass and Ben Porowski on drums. Uri Caine at Castleton tomorrow, and on the line, on Saturday. Sunday. Is it Sunday? Okay. I have Burnett Thompson sitting in the studio, kind of curating this whole thing, and I'm glad Burnett is here because he can keep me straight on this thing. And we have Uri Caine on the phone here on WPFW. Uri, welcome to WPFW.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So it's been a while since we hung out together, Uri, and yet you've done some great things since then. And we just heard you're live at the Village Vanguard and the new release that you just put out called Calibrated Thickness. And you're going to be performing at Castleton on Sunday, and it's a duo performance with Jenny Lin. Tell us about what the concept is and what you all will be doing.
Well, we'll be performing a lot of music from a CD that we recorded last year called the Spirio Sessions, where we're both playing together and sometimes separately. A lot of the material that we're playing are arrangements of Mozart and Gesualdo and Scarlatti, where Jenny is playing the original music and I'm improvising over it, under it, against it, with it, as well as some pieces that I've composed either for her, solo pieces, or some duet pieces that I composed for our record together. So Jenny's the pianist that I've known for a while in New York, and when she suggested that we get together and try to, play together and see what happens, I jumped at the chance, and so the music that we'll be playing in Castleton will be from the record, but of course it'll be a little bit different because I'll be improvising.
Sure. Sure. Now you've for years now delved into the European classical repertoire. You did a very unique Goldberg variations, and it was Bach with a beat with everything else, and then some Mahler. Tell us how you conceived those recordings that you did some years ago.
Well, I've always been interested in classical music, even though my focus ever since I was a kid was, I guess, as a jazz pianist, and I love to improvise. But I just wanted to take some of the music that I had been really familiar with as I was growing up and try to inject some type of improvisation to that music. And sometimes those projects, like the Goldberg variations, are really more about the idea of theme and variations, and that idea that you can take a pre-existing form and then create many things around that form. I also did some records based on the music of Gustav Mahler, and I think in those projects it was also trying to sort of combine the improvisation with the thoughts about his music, and in other words, a lot of his music has klezmer influences, so we sort of recast that music in different ways. So there's a lot of improvisation in it, but also a lot of rearrangement of it. And in a sense, it's the same thing as taking a jazz standard and then seeing what you do with it as an improviser.
Sure.
It's taking the text and then, subjecting it to different ways of looking at that text. So I like that type of freedom.
Right. So how long ago were those recordings? I have them in my chaotic collection, and I just couldn't put them in my hands for tonight. But I remember.
Well, I think the first Mahler CD I did was recorded actually 96, about 20 years ago.
About 20 years ago, I thought so. And you did the Bach was it the Jazz Standard? I know you did it live in a club, but it was an afternoon performance that I caught.
After recording it, I sort of tried to figure out a way to present it live, because on the CD there's, I think, maybe 80 different musicians, and it's quite a long CD.
Right.
So I sort of got it pared down to an ensemble of 8, and we performed it really a lot. I think that CD came out in 2000, which was a Bach anniversary year, And after the CD came out, we were invited to play it really all over the world. So again, as you start to, take music like that on the road and you play it night after night, it develops and goes in different directions than the original recording. And that's another thing I really love about improvising, is that there's an openness to it. I mean, it's based on a form. It's based on the music of Bach and other pieces that I wrote around Bach. But every night, the performances were actually really different.
Mm-hmm. I want to remind folks that you're listening to WPFW 89.3 in Washington. I'm Rusty Hassan, and my guest tonight is Uri Caine, performing out at Castleton on Sunday out in Virginia. And for tickets, you can go to pianojazz.com for tickets and ticket information on it. It's a duo concert with Jenny Lin. You're originally from Philadelphia, right? If I remember correctly. So how did you get into performing jazz initially?
Well, I was really lucky. I met a pianist named Bernard Pfeiffer, who was a teacher. He taught a lot of the people my age. When I was about 12 or 13, I met Bernard. And at the same time, I was starting to get involved in the Philly jazz scene. And Philadelphia at that point had a lot of great musicians that lived there, people like Philly Joe Jones and Hank Mobley and Mickey Roker. And gradually I just I got the opportunity to play with them and to, I guess, really start to concentrate on my music. So it was a very supportive environment. Philly was also a great city because there were so many different types of music happening, not just jazz, but a lot of classical music, a lot of R&B, even some free music. I mean, it really wasn't until I moved to New York where, I started to meet a lot of other musicians who were trying to combine a lot of those things. But Philadelphia was really a very nurturing town for music when I was growing up. And so I still really appreciate all the stuff that I learned and, all the people that I got a chance to play with there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what was hitting New York like for you? How quickly did you really, hook up with people and get into the scene there when you moved up?
Well, it was not so easy in the beginning. I mean, I was meeting a lot of people and playing in people's basements and rehearsing and stuff like that. But it took me a while. I think when I first started to go on the road with Don Byron, a great clarinet player,
mm-hmm.
and we started playing a lot, especially in Europe, that things started to change. But I saw in New York that there were a lot of musicians who were trying to combine different types of music. That was also the era of the Knitting Factory, when there's a lot of different types of improvisation going on, as well as straight-ahead jazz, as well as all the different, types of jazz and all the great musicians that lived in New York. So for me, it was a gradual process. It wasn't like I got there and immediately started playing. I scuffled, but, when I look back on it again, I saw that I had a lot of these types of great experiences and great encounters with musicians. The opportunity really to experiment, which I think is important.
Mm-hmm. Of course. We've been featuring Calibrated Thickness, Mannahatta. What does the title mean, Mannahatta?
It's the original name of Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Indian name.
Really, absolutely. I thought there was a connection there, but I wasn't sure. And again, these are all original compositions on the recording, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And we have queued up Bleeding Heart, so we'll probably get into that in concluding our interview. But again, I want to stress your performance on Sunday, and it's out at Castleton out in Virginia. And tickets are available through Piano Jazz. Burnett Thompson's been marvelous with all of the performances he's been producing. I just met a marvelous pianist, Yoko Mia, who played at the Arts Club last Monday that Burnett brought in. So this should be marvelous on Sunday. Unfortunately, I'll be in your hometown. I'm going up to Philadelphia with my wife to visit her sister, so I can't make the performance, but I'm sure it'll be well attended and a good one. The Castleton's just this incredible arts location.
I'm looking forward to it.
So you and Jenny Lin, this would be fascinating with a fantastic European classical pianist and a jazz European classical and everything else pianist in duet. I'm really excited for you. Now, I'm going to have to track down the duo album that you did also. That'll be in my collection next. But right now we have Calibrated Thickness, and what's this? Any significance to Bleeding Heart?
Bleeding Heart is it's a ballad, and it's not so much a hard swinging piece. It's more lyric, and I really enjoyed playing with Clarence Penn and Mark Elias. Our music goes in a lot of different directions.
Oh, obviously.
So I guess there's another
right.
So there's another direction.
Good. Okay. Well, thanks again for calling in tonight, and best of luck with the
Thank
performance
you.
on Sunday
Thank you
and
for having
the
me.
other stuff. It's been a pleasure. Talk to you now.
Thank you very much.